Hey, hi, welcome to Derek Writes Stuff. I am the titular Derek. I exist in this void where I write and create stuff because if I can do it, so can you. And what I am writing today is a choose your own adventure story. That's right, every middle schooler's favorite book genre. So today I'm writing out passages that will then put into what's called a Twine text game, and they'll be available at some point along with my other games at itch.io/DerekWrites. You want to check that out, and is based on my board game A Week in Wallum, which is currently available also at itch.io/DerekWrites. So that's what we call synergy. Now, obviously, a lot of pre-planning goes into this type of story. You have to lay out your options in advance, like a flow chart. Right, so you have to know that if you go chapter 1 and you choose option A, that goes to chapter 2, or if you choose option B, that will go to chapter 3. Right, so you'll lay those out ahead of time. So it's not a great project for the pantsers among us. If you know the common phrase that you have pantsers who write by the seat of their pants, or planners who plan things out, or plantsers, which is not a word, but it is people who mix between the two. So this is probably a good project if you are a planner or a plantser, if you want to lay the things out and then fill in the details as you go, which is sort of what I'm doing here. So I've laid out the story already. Here I'm just going to write the introductory paragraph, the start of the story, and then the first forking decision. So let's just go ahead and jump right on into it. Right, so really quickly to say this new format that we're trying out is inspired by the always entertaining Drawfee YouTube channel, where they would just pick a project and do it and narrate over it, and that's the video, right? So that's what we're trying to do. Of course, with Drawfee, you have banter between the hosts and the visually interesting act of drawing something. Here, of course, you just have me and the sound of a keyboard. So let me know down below in the comments if there is something visually interesting about seeing, the birth of a piece of written product, right? And whatever else you want us to work on. So we're going to be doing working lots on our things for games. Also going to be doing different genres of writing, and then eventually everything will be available to download somewhere, and we'll start back with the Patreon, all those things. And if you subscribe to the Patreon, you can get the full version of all the stuff that we write here on the channel. So I just wanted to get that put out there. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just doing the introduction. So in A Week in Wallum, the idea is that you can tell different stories. It's a board game, RPG, hybrid. You pick the story that you're trying to tell, and then you go through your time in the town and meet the different people and do favors for them. It's based on Animal Crossing, and you get to decide what your character is there for. You're telling the story. So in this particular version, I'm using the idea of you coming to town to help put on you can see here, put on a pageant, put on an anniversary event for the town. It's just one of the different stories you could tell, but obviously for a choose your own adventure, you need to have a pretty straightforward arc, and so I chose that as the main focus. So when I write, you can see I edit in real time. I do that while I'm writing, so you can kind of see that process. If I see a word I don't like, I will go back. I'll change it now usually. instead of coming back to it. It's a bad habit. I don't recommend it. If you can let go of that and be a first draft finisher and then come back in it later, you will probably be faster at writing than I am. I am an edit-as-you-go sort of person. You see, I let a few things go here that I probably wouldn't have. The rickety old shack, I'm going to go back and change that. It's not a shack, it is the idea is that it is a building, it is a house. I mentioned it's a bread and breakfast later in. So I'm trying to tie in if you play the board game, you can see what these things look like, So it doesn't look like a shack, it's a fixer-upper. And then this character, the mayor, is one of the village people, YMCA, that you can help during a playthrough of Week in Walham. And so I'm just describing how she sort of looks, and in sometimes she can be the mayor. In some playthroughs, she's not. It depends on the story that you're trying to tell, right? So this is a version. If you were playing through Week in Walham, you decided that Hatsie was the mayor. It's one of the story arcs you could do. Would go back and redo some of this dialogue here. I'm just trying to be relatively quick for this video. So there is a bit of a first draft aspect to this. I want to get to the part where you make a decision as soon as possible. In a choose your own adventure book, these would probably be longer. You'd have a full page, 2 pages. In the Twine program, you want to have a little less text so that people can get to their decision making faster, because it's an interactive program. It lays out the text and the choices. It's a non-linear storytelling program that then you can make into a sort of like a text-based video game. So I made just a quick, the first choice. Obviously, if you see a creepy house, what's your first choice? First choice is, do you go in or do you peace out? So I wanted to make that kind of the first. I like that. When you play a game and you get that first choice that you can just not play the game, I find that very funny. When that happens in some adventure games, you can just choose right off the bat, no, I don't want to, and the game ends. So I wanted to include that. It's a little joke there, but obviously then you miss out on the entire rest of the plot. And I can maybe in the next video I might show more of that process, the laying out process. So I just wanted to do this first to establish the new format, the ride along. So there's option 1, the bad option, the bad ending, if you want to go video game terms, where you just leave, and then obviously the preferable choice would be to go in and continue the adventure. So when you lay out all your options, you want to kind of keep that in mind if you're doing a choose your own adventure sort of story of leading to, you have some options are dead ends, and so that's why it's good to map these things out in advance to know where the story ends and where it arcs back together. And this is going to be a very simplified plot. Some choose your own adventure books and Twine programs can have thousands of branches. This is going to be fairly straightforward, just because it's my first time using the program. I'm really enjoying the game development process. So so far they've all been printable games. This is gonna be my first one that's done as a interactive story. And here's another piece of dialogue. I like dialogue. My background's in playwriting, so I enjoy writing dialogue. I don't know if this came across natural enough here, but then so you would have this option here. You continue the story, and then you would move on to the rest of the next decision. Double guess, second guess. That's the word, second guess. Double guess, it's not a thing. Second guess, sometimes I second guess what I'm going to write next, because again, I'm editing while writing. So it's, sometimes you'll see me pause or go back over a sentence. Because I thought of a better place to go. Well, that's part of the writing process, right? Is figuring out, especially if you want to leave yourself a place to go. So if you write, a sentence that just sort of ends, you have nowhere to go next. So here, instead, I want to make sure that we mention that this festival has a purpose, and now you're tied into that. And now what I'm doing here is I should have done this before, is you're marking down where the spaces are. So in the Twine program, these chapters could also be called, like, they're options, but it's useful to mark those down ahead of time. You get involved with the planning out of your storyline. So that's how you'd kind of go about doing a choose your own adventure. I want to thank you for checking this video out. If you want more of this, whatever it was, and you want me to get more into depth in the planning process, comment below that you want to see me do the more of my prep work. And if you want any other topics, writing topics, leave those down below. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and until next time, peace and all good.